Hey, what's up, guys? It's the I Says Kills, otherwise known as Nick, and today we're going to be talking about Andor, episode 4. And, I'm kind of liking this series so far, to be honest. Didn't really have an interest in Andor at all. Thought Rogue One was pretty good, but, if you guys watch my episodes 1 through 3 review, um, wasn't really expecting much. Episodes 1 and 2 were kind of slow. Three started getting a little bit interesting, and we get in episode 4, we get introduced to a lot more characters actually. But this is going to be a spoiler review, so just to let you know, give you a little bit of forewarning. The episode starts off with Cassian and Luthen, which is played by Stellan Skarsgård, who, by the way, is just an excellent actor. Does a really good job in this episode. Really did enjoy kind of seeing him flush his character out and kind of making it his own. But Cassian and Luthen, they're on the ship. They're talking about a possible mission, and Luthen says that he only really met with him because he wanted Cassian. That he didn't even really want that black box. That obviously he'll take the black box if that's the only thing he can get. Um, but overall, he really wanted Cassian to join I guess, on a job is all he knows at this point. But in reality, it's, basically the start of the rebels. And it's like a small group that we get introduced later on. But in this scene, he tells Cassian that he's going to give him $200,000 or 200,000 credits for completing the job. And he gives him a Kyburn crystal, kind of like a down payment. It's worth like 50,000 credits. He tells him though, like, don't, sell it or anything. Only sell it if I don't live up to my, end of the bargain. I still want it back. But we get a next scene here where we meet the Imperial security and we get some new characters. They're talking about needing to, and it's kind of like a, corporate meeting. It's a round table, and they're talking about needing to provide or needing to, do more surveillance to the population, I guess, for control. And one of the guys in the scene is from Game of Thrones, who played one of the last maesters to um, Cersei Lannister, and he does a really good job. I don't know his name. I don't think I see him here in the credits. It was kind of actually surprising because no, actually, I think I see him. Maybe it's David Heyman, but yeah, he played the last Maester for Cersei Lannister, and he did a really good job. Playing that corporate, maniacal, all business, no human emotions kind of person. Um, and they're talking about, or he's actually telling, the people around the table that obviously, yeah, surveillance is a good idea, but you got to start thinking of us like healthcare providers that, we spot out the disease and we abolish it. And there he's talking about, basically rebels or, you know, people not going their way. So it was kind of an interesting, little scene that I really enjoyed. I like seeing the backwards, back office kind of political intrigue. Um, it's what I kind of enjoy in Game of Thrones. But Cassian and Luthen land on the planet, and they're gonna meet with another new character, which is going to be in the side of the rebels, who's in charge of like these seven um, people she's working with, trying to weaken the empire. I mean, they're very, very small, so I don't know what they've done so far. but they've looked like they've been planning for a very long time, and that they're a really tight niched group of people. When Cassian gets involved, they don't trust him at all. Like they, are questioning. Um, I don't know who plays the character. Let me see if I can remember her name. I think it's Val. Yeah, I think it's Val. Yeah, so Val, is kind of like the leader of the group, and she's telling the rest of the members that, hey, this has always been the plan, but I just didn't want to tell you about. And they don't call him Cassian; they call him like Clay or something like that. And she says that this has always been the plan. I just didn't want to tell you guys about him until I knew it was going to be a for sure thing. They don't believe her, and a couple scenes later, you get her explaining to them that, I know it's a little bit sudden, but I trust them overall, so they can kind of calm their nerves a little bit. But even when Luthen had talked to Val, um, when they first landed on the ship, I mean, she was very untrusting of Cassian, and really didn't, you know, want to bring him into the crew because of how late it's been. And I don't know how long they've been working together, but it seems like for a long time. I don't know what other jobs they've done, but it just seems like, obviously they're working in the shadows, and there might be just doing like little, tiny things to slow down the empire, is what it seems like. But we get another imperial inspectors, which is, from the empire, and they're inspecting the corporate security force, which is that Cyril guy who is basically getting hounded from the last episode, and how much loss of life had happened, and how the plan went awry. And the Empire Inspector, um, the name escapes me. We get another scene with him later on, but he basically tells them that, you know you guys are under the Empire's control now, which is what Cyril's boss did not want. They didn't want the Empire to be involved at all. But it looks like now they're going to be directly under management from the Empire, which, I don't know what's going to happen there, but it is an interesting take because, like I said, the boss didn't want to have, the Empire involved at all. Um, we actually get another scene, and this scene was actually really interesting because we get Luthen's character, putting on a wig, landing on Coruscant, putting on like a robe, like a very kind of rich guy, lord. But we find out that he's actually a senator, and he's been working on the sidelines with another senator, trying to raise funds for the rebellion, and the seven people that he had put together for, basically stopping the empire, or trying to stop the empire. So we get a little bit of backstory, um, when he is talking to another lady senator who I think is played by Geneva O'Reilly, who plays Mon. Is it Mon Mothra? I think that's me. I might be getting that wrong because I'm just looking at the cast. But she is another senator, and we do actually get another scene with her later on, with her husband. And her husband supposedly told her months ago about this dinner, and in this dinner, there's going to have a couple guests that's been voting against all her policies, and actually is stopping some, food from getting to certain planets, which is causing starvation. So she, is wondering why he did that, first of all. And you can kind of see, some animosity between husband and wife there. Maybe he's more the side of, profit or whatever, corruption. And, she's just trying to do the right thing. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there. We also get another scene with Lieutenant Mira, which is one of the new characters we get from the Empire, and she's trying to gain access to a sector that isn't hers. And she had reported it to the Game of Thrones guy. I'm just gonna call him Game of Thrones guy because the character's name escapes me. But she's trying to argue her case that the other guy, who's the guy that was the inspector, inspecting the corporate security force, says, that he's not giving me the information. I need this information because it's going to help me with one of my sectors that I have a hunch on that small pockets of rebellions are starting up, and she basically wants to investigate it. Overall, though, the Game of Thrones guy, tells her that she's, overstepping, that, gather a little bit more secure or concrete evidence and come back to me. But for now, do things as you're supposed to, work in your sectors, and basically leave each other alone. So you get this scene where supposedly, I guess, she's one of the first women who made it up in the ranks, and that she's highly looked at right now, and that she needs to basically stay under the radar, that kind of thing. So it gets I don't know, I guess maybe she or he is close to her somehow. I guess we'll find out later on. So I'm digging the, maybe not so much the you're the only woman thing, but I'm digging the whole, you know, act scenes of the Empire, trying to control, civilization. It's interesting to kind of see because, I mean, it relates to the day, right? I mean, we definitely have that in our real world where these corporate, people are doing the same very thing. But I dig it. I dug it. This episode was pretty good. We get a scene with Cassian at the end, and he's eating, and I guess he has to learn some mission reports or some data or something by morning. But that's pretty much where the episode ends. Um, I have to say, I probably give this episode, because I mean, it did bring in, some characters, and it did well bringing in the characters as far as, their motivations, what they've been kind of doing the whole time, why they've only been introduced to the story right now, and what their involvement is. So I thought they did a really good job. It was another well shot episode. I thought the dialogue was good, definitely not like She-Hulk kind of dialogue, but I enjoyed the whole, corporate, imperial, and then also security force scenes and how they kind of relate to each other. I mean, we do get a scene with Cyril, which is the guy that made the big boo boo in the last episode from the corporate security. He goes home. I guess it might be on Coruscant. I don't know, but he goes home and goes back to mom. But for some reason, when he knocks on the door, his mom slaps the crap out of him and then lets him in. But then that's the last time we get to see his character. So I guess we'll see. We don't get to see Bix at all this episode. Still no Forrest Whitaker. But we do get introduced to those 7 new rebels, which one of them, seems like a good guy. I mean, they all seem like a good guy, but they're all like one of them trusts Cassian right away, while the other ones are, you know, holding their opinions for later, I guess. But yeah, I'm definitely digging where this is going as far as a story. It sucks that we ultimately know where it's going because it's just going right into the beginning of Rogue One. But I am interested to seeing what they do with the story and who they bring in as far as side characters. But yeah, as far as the episode out of 10, I would probably give it like a 7. I would say. I mean, it's definitely keeping my interest, and it was definitely a well shot, well acted episode. So very close to 8. I think it would have been 8 if it had like at least maybe an action scene or something. but obviously you can't just force those things. But it's definitely up there. I am interested still, and interested to seeing where they're going to take the story. But anyways, guys, that is my opinion on episode 4 of Andor. And we'll see what happens in episode 5. Another thing, too, is Alan Tudyk is supposed to be in here. I guess he's playing K250. Maybe we been introduced to him already. Maybe he's just playing a robot, but they got a good cast. So, yeah, definitely interested to see more. But anyways, guys, that's my opinion on Andor. I will catch you on the next video. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for watching.